Vic got his first client 2 months after joining, and it took me 2 years to get my first client. So what's the difference? Right? Like, what's the difference there? All right, welcome. I'm really excited. Today we're really talking about how to go from a rookie to an expert, how to go from just starting, being a beginner as a coach, and really going through this quickly, swiftly, helping people, getting confident, getting clients. What does that really look like? And so I'm excited today that I'm here with my guy, Victor Freeman, aka Mr. Mindful Minute, in a building from Philly. And so I'm excited that he's here today. Vic, you want to just do like a little brief introduction about, who you are, who you help, and then we can jump right into it.
So as you already said, my name is Victor Freeman, also known as Mr. Mindful Minute. What I do to help people is helping you to love yourself, helping you to understand yourself, helping you to have more confidence in yourself, and actually seeing what that looks like to have a mindset of greatness. So I help men and women to have more self-love, self-confidence, and overcoming self-doubt.
Right, Vic? Like, before we started working together, what did that look like for you? Right? Like, what were you doing? What was going on in your life before we started working together?
So before we started working together, I literally had just came to the conclusion that I wanted to be a coach. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna take this certification class and I'm gonna get certified as a life coach. And I was just like, oh, I'm just so inspiring to help people. This is literally where I was at. I was almost, if you want to say, I was at the starting line when I actually connected with you. I had no idea about how I was actually going to be a coach. I just knew that I wanted to be a coach. I didn't know anything else. So that's where I was. And I was actually just now getting fired or let go because of COVID from a 15-year job at the airport. So when I decided to become a coach, I had just now lost my job and was transitioning into getting another job while I was deciding to also start my own business.
Love it. So you was in a situation to where, which I don't think is too uncommon for, for other folks, that may be listening, and I was in a similar crossroad too, but you was in a place where basically you were like, okay, I know I want to do this coaching thing. It just so happened to be I lost my job at the same time. So now it's almost like I burn the ships, like this is what I want to do. So, might as well, jump in and start doing this. And but you didn't know what to do, right? Like, did you look up anything? Like, were you looking up like podcasts and like researching and kind of like trying to figure it out? Or you just made the decision and said, you know what, I kind of heard people talking about it and I want to do it. Like what were you doing up until that point to when you say you made the decision? Like, what did that decision look like in terms of like your activity of actually trying to be a coach?
Honestly, I'm a big ET fan, right? And so I found myself just like, oh, this is what ET doing. This is what I need to do. Oh, ET got a podcast. Oh, I need to go to podcast. Oh, ET is doing this. Oh, I need to do. So I fell into the realm of imposter syndrome very, very fast. And so when I made the decision,
real quick, explain what imposter syndrome is for some of us who may not know what that is.
Basically, you're being something, it can be actually more than one thing, but for what it was for me, I was being what somebody else was because I admired them. So I was being an imposter of who they were. I wasn't actually being authentic to myself. It was, oh, ET speak like this, I need to speak like this. Everything ET's doing, oh, I need to be doing it like this because it's working for ET. But me not looking at, well, what is going to work for Vic? How do Vic want to actually speak? Which you also then fall into the inferiority complex. So that is what I was dealing with. So that's where when I got with you, that's where I was. And I was just like, oh, I want to do this and oh, I want to do this. But I didn't actually know what it looked like. I didn't even know where to start, to be honest with you. I didn't know where to start.
But Vic, walk us through, like, have you always been confident on camera? And then whether you have or haven't, what are some things that you've been able to do to actually start putting out video online and get confident doing that?
So to answer your question, no, I was not always confident on camera, right? So what actually got me confident on camera before I even started working with you. So I don't do anything without thinking about it like a while in the head. So a good friend of mine is a photographer and videographer, and I was already talking about getting started with doing things. And I said, yo, what do I do in order for me to be doing this? Because I'm also a motivational speaker. I said, and I want to be putting out videos. He said, well, I said, but I'm nervous. He said, well, what you need to start doing is recording yourself on your phone, but you're not doing anything with it. He said, just keep it in your phone. Just talk to the camera on your phone. He said, there's nobody going to see it. Only you see it. He said, then you go back and you replay and watch that yourself. And so that's what actually got me comfortable with getting on camera well before I even started doing anything, because I was doing the practice work, so to say, in order to get comfortable. And something that he said to me was, when I said, well, I don't know if I want to actually be on camera. I don't know if I just, if you see my logo, I said, oh, well, I just want to use my logo, and my logo kind of will be right there. He said, well, people ain't going to connect with your logo. They're going to connect with who you are as an individual. And that's what's going to make people actually rock with you.
It's going to happen through repetition, right? And that was one of the things that that stood out to me when you first joined the group out of everybody else, was the fact that you were willing to take that step. You was willing to take that initiative, although you were nervous, and although you may not have felt 100% comfortable as of yet. Like, I'm gonna keep putting in the reps. I'm gonna keep facing my fear. I'm gonna do it anyway, because this is my purpose and this is my mission, and I know, like, this is how it's gonna help me reach more people. So that's something that stood out to me as your coach. So I really love that. Vic got his first client 2 months after joining, and it took me 2 years to get my first client. So what's the difference? Right? Like, what's the difference there? And so we're gonna jump into that, and and then we'll open up the floor if you guys have any questions that you want to know about coaching, the journey, or anything of that nature. We'll also answer some questions too. Give them how you did those things in abbreviated form, obviously, to be respectful for everybody's time. But how did you do? What did you learn, and how did you do it?
All right. So if it's gonna be the three things that I learned, well, one of the first things that I learned was social media through your program, right? Because you have inside your platform in Kajabi, you have the replays that you could go back to. I'm very, very big on replays because I can't actually sit through all of the sessions. So I was going through the vault and seeing that there was a whole section with some of the top people that's out there. I think, what's her name? This is Nikki. And you did an interview with her on, talking about social media. And I was just like, okay, I definitely know I need to learn that. So that was one of the takeaways that I actually, learned. And then so something else was how to actually convert likes into sales. That was one of the biggest things for me, because I'm like, I was getting hyped when, we started working together, and I'm like, oh, I'm putting out content and people are liking my posts and things like that. But I'm like, but I still don't have no clients though. And something that you said was you need to turn those likes into paying customers. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. How do I do that? And you had all of that information that was already right there. You had pre-scripted stuff, things that you had actually shown other people, and it was working for them. So I'm like, okay, I need to learn that information that's there. I think that's one of the biggest things that I like about your program, is because you could go back into that information, and now if you got time, you could just batch and just listen to this stuff and then apply the stuff. And so the next thing would probably be knowing what to say to people when you get them on a call, because I can put out content and get people to like my post and even get them to book a session on my calendar. It ain't gonna mean nothing if I can't convert that person and actually get them to actually buy in to my program. So, and it's crazy because even with me saying that, I wouldn't even have a whole coaching structure if you didn't show me how to create a program. I didn't even know what a pro coaching program was. I was just going to just be like, yeah, I'm going to be coaching people. I don't even have a structure on a format on what we're going to go over this week. You're going to go over this. We're going to go over this. And I noticed that every single person that I had got on the phone with, the first thing that they say is, I love the structure of your program and how you have it laid out. And they're like, no, that right there, the first part of the program, don't touch me, but it's that middle part of your program. I think I really need that help right there. Well, we can't just go from the top to the middle. We got to work our way down, because there's going to be some things I have it structured a certain way. I like actually being able to say my program is structured this way in order for you to get the maximum results that you can get. And so if I'm gonna have a tangible, the tangible is actually taking the time to do the stuff that is in your program. Like you put out, we have the group course every single week, and whether you can make it or not, take the time out to actually follow the steps of what you actually say. That is the tangible for me. Because you have in there from creating an email, creating funnels, creating click magnets and lead. I didn't even know what none of that stuff was. So you said it earlier. You said it's a coaching, but then there's business, the aspect of it. It's a whole business world of coaching. I didn't even know that until I met you. So you have all of that there. That really is the tangible, being able to say, I don't know anything about business aspect of coaching, and I'm going to get everything that I need within the program, and I can go through it at my own pace and just say, okay, I done completed this, boom, let me do the next thing. I completed this, boom, okay, let me do the next thing. So I will say that was my biggest tangible that was able to help me.
What I love what you just said, Vic, was the fact that like the tangible for you was, okay, like putting together a structured program, what goes in it, what are the deliverables in it, right? How do I design a program? What are people getting? What are the objectives? What are the outcomes people are getting, right? And when you have that information, because you did that pre-work, now when you get on a consultation call or strategy session or sales call, whatever you want to call it, when you get on a call with somebody and they're open ears to how you can help change their life, if you're not presenting something structured, like you know what you're talking about, right there, they out. right. And I don't care if you're trying to get your first client or you trying to crack your first 5, 10 clients, or you trying to crack your first $5,000-$10,000 a month. If you can't clearly articulate what somebody is getting in your program, the objectives, the outcomes, the deliverables, what's inside of it, what does it look like? If you can't clearly explain that, you're not going to get clients, right? You're not going to change anybody's life, right? You may be able to do some good stuff on social media and people like it, but you won't get revenue. And again, this is not a nonprofit. We're doing this. This is a business, right? So I love the fact that you shared that, Vic, because that's key. Because some folks, I know we kind of thinking about whether we should have a coach or not. Like, what's the best part of you about having a coach? And then even specifically, let's say me being your coach, like what would you say is the best part of it?
Knowing that you got help, because that is very difficult when you're trying to do something that you had no idea about. And then to be able to have somebody that is going to say, no, this is what you should probably do. All right, well, coach, I'm thinking about doing this. Like, and just for an example, when I was trying to figure out what was going to be my freebie for people, right? And you actually gave me the suggestion, well, why don't you come up with a mini course? And I was like, oh, and then he was like, well, you already kind of do affirmations and stuff like that. Well, why don't you do this? And I was like, oh man, see, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to actually get that information, because if I don't have a coach that's going to say, well, no, this is how you can actually do it in the business. And so how you can actually use it. So that, I will say for myself, that is one of the best things that you're going to get from not only having a business coach, but also getting you as a business coach, because you're going to actually say, yo, it's plenty of times that you have actually texted me and say, yo, book a 15-minute touch point with me so we can talk and see how you're doing and see where things are. And I'm just like, oh yeah, definitely. I did need to do that anyway. You just sent me a reminder anyway. So that is definitely one of the best things, having somebody that's not just going to help you, but actually wants to help